It's always a pleasure to be here. So let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Srilata Shankar. I'm an HR and L&D leader. I come with I'm Srilata Shankar. I'm an HR and L&D leader. I come with about 2 decades of experience. And I've also been teaching HR in management colleges for the last 15 years. I also conduct soft skill workshops for management colleges, engineering colleges, and corporate companies. I've been a content writer. I've been writing poetry for the last 6-7 years now. I've written about 42 poems. I'm also a podcaster. I have my own podcast titled Leadership Talks. We've done 16 episodes, hope to touch 100 soon. So, Veer, I would like you to be my guest as well sometime in future. And I've also been interviewed by various YouTube Telugu channels. Couple of them. It's called I Dream Media and That Media, and a few more are lined up. So it's really nice to be there on the media and talk about various topics. I've done about 30 episodes so far. Hope to do many more. I've also got a creative side. I do tangible painting, block printing, tie-and-dye, and pottery. I have an adventure side as well. I've done bungee jumping, etc. So that's a brief about me. Coming to this topic today, it's a pretty engaging topic, employee engagement. What we understand, the norm, what people say is HR में लोग क्या करते, कुछ नहीं करते. They do nothing in HR. They probably take care of Diwali functions or Rangoli. They just do Rangoli. So HR as a process, and I've been hearing the last session where they gave a lot of input. Sharad and the rest of them gave a lot of inputs about what CHR does and what HR department does. So HR is an employee engagement. I'll specifically stick to what my topic is. And I think we are really running behind time, so I'll wind up in exactly half an hour from now. So employee engagement is from the time an employee joins the organization. So one of the points that I would like to point out is from the post-recruitment, from the time he joins the company, that is the joining formality onwards, there should be a personal touch. So if there is, not a personal touch, let's say there is just a system, there's all forms are uploaded on the system, and supposing an employee has to just fill up the form and submit it, that's where the kind of touch starts losing. So I think while systems are very important, it becomes makes life more simpler. But it's also important to keep HR person over there, try to interact with the new employee, because while everybody's today tech savvy, most of even the school going kids are tech savvy. It's very important to have that connect. So while systems can be forms can be uploaded onto the system and it can be system driven, I would also very, very strongly recommend that employees, the existing employees, should be there to not just have the connect, but also to know how to fill up the form. If the new employee is getting stuck, he can help him, etc. Second is the induction part. So induction should be a detailed induction where the employee feels, yes, he's joined a nice company, company where he can grow along with the company, and his future is kind of happy. His future will be happy, etc. So the induction plays a vital role. And before the induction, while the employees filled up all the joining forms, I think the HR department should continue engaging with the employee by introducing to not just his reporting manager or his team, but the entire company as well. So therein, he feels, okay, I know a lot of people and I can reach out to people. So post the induction and post the joining formalities, the employee engagement continues from the HR side, wherein the HR team has to constantly keep in touch with the employee, stating what he is doing, how he is working on a particular project. If he's a tech person, if he's a software developer person, whether he's working on a project, how he can engage himself, what are the kind of trainings that is needed. So you may say, why have I jumped to training? Training holds a very, very important role in every employee's career path. So before I go on to training, it's also a very important for the HR team to also showcase the career path for every employee who's joining. What is career path? Career path is, let's say I'm joined in as assistant manager, junior executive, or a senior manager, but I need to know what is the career path for, let's say, 5 years from now, 2 years from now. So if I know my career path, I know where to reach, how to reach, and how long it will take. Let's, for example, I'm an assistant manager. I've joined as an assistant manager. So I want to reach the role of a vice president or AVP. So I will need to understand, or I will get to understand that it will take from assistant manager to manager about 2 years, and 2 years from there to senior manager, and so on and so forth. So therein, I understand what is my career growth, what is my career path, and how to achieve that goal of my assistant vice president or vice president. So that plays a vital role. Moving on to that, from there to training part, training has to be mandatory. Most of the companies today give this training, mandatory training for 100 hours, like companies like GE, Microsoft, etc. Every employee has to do a mandatory number of hours. Apart from this, I would also recommend strongly the classroom training. I think Sharad mentioned in the previous session that connect with the employees is very important. I completely agree with him. Connect with the employees is so important today. Thanks to COVID, we are all kind of working half hybrid. Most of the companies today want every employee to come 5 days a week. So having said that, if it is hybrid, Zoom calls makes it very impersonal. I don't really recommend Zoom calls. While having said that, yes, technology has helped us tremendously during the COVID time. So the trainings that needs to be given is employees can ask for various kind of trainings, but you should also, the HR team should also do a need analysis and training mapping to understand what is the training required, whether it was going to be beneficial for both the employee and the employer. So before the training, if the employee comes in, if the employer, reporting manager comes and tells you, or the HR tells the HR department that this employee is not performing well. So what is performance, or what is lack of performance or poor performance? I need to understand what is the reasons for him to not perform. How is it measured? How is it communicated? This becomes very, very important. So measurement of the performance, that's why I strongly believe in every company that I have worked, I insist on every employee getting a KRA, key result area. Once I understand what is my responsibilities, it is very easy for me to perform. And then the second point is, I would very strongly say that every reporting manager should give the employee, he or she, a feedback every week. If not a week, at least once in a fortnight. If that does not happen, and it happens once in 6 months or once in a year during the appraisal time, for example, let's say Beer is my manager and he does not give me feedback. So I understand, I think I'm doing a fantastic job. During the appraisal, if Beer doesn't give me a good performance rating and I don't get an increment or a promotion, then I'm very demotivated. So it's very important to give constant feedback to understand how the employee is performing, and if the employee is not performing, what are the reasons. The reasons could be personal, professional. I don't like my manager, I've got this training, but I still don't know how to implement it in my job, etc. So many other reasons. So if the reporting manager, if there is a problem with the reporting manager, I would strongly suggest the employee and the reporting manager should sit down, thrash it out, and understand what's the problem and sort out the problem. Second is, if there is a training problem, even after giving the training, you should insist on retraining him so that he kind of comes up to the curve. The third reason is, it should not be a hire and fire issue. If there is a hire and fire it just gives a lot, very, very wrong impression in the market. There are many people who will say, I don't want to join this company because they're just hiring and firing. So the context of sacking an employee or allowing the employee to leave should be very concrete. It should be either a performance. If it is performance, how is it measured? Second is, if it is lack of discipline, if he's not coming on time, if he's not leaving early, etc. Third is, if it is a sexual harassment, or fourth is data manipulation. In the context of third and fourth, that is sexual harassment and data manipulation, you can sack him then and there. But in case of discipline or performance, you should ensure that there is enough room for him to improve himself and perform better. Misconduct in the context, again, like misconduct can be a violation of the company's rules, sexual harassment, or even a molestation, or any data being misinterpreted, or I'll give you a small example where one of the employees of G, when I was working there, she was a VP, vice president, but she liked, let's say, she liked Beer, and she was supporting Beer, whereas Srilata was a better employee than Beer. So while she supported her, she got Beer an increment and a promotion in 2023, and it happened again in 2024. So Srilata, what happened was 2023, she went and spoke to this lady, and this lady said, no, your performance has to improve. So you will definitely get an increment. Last year, you continue to perform, improve your performance, you will definitely get. So in 2024, that did not happen. So this girl, it's not me, it was somebody else, but it was, let's call her Sunita. Sunita, what she did was, she was very smart. She collected all the data for the last 2 years, and she sent it to the US team. That is the parent company. So the parent company did a complete investigation, and they realized that this lady, the vice president, was manipulating data to support Beer. So immediately she was sacked. At the vice president level, I don't know why she had to do that. So in this context of we can either term it as manipulation of data or misconduct of the company's rules. That is also not valid. Termination and preventing unfair dismissal claims can be like, for example, I don't like a person, so I'm sacking a person. Those can be very, very unfair. Or in the context of your IR companies or industrial relations company, there can be union related issues. So when you're terminating an employee, it has to be fair. It cannot be unfair. So the second aspect is employee engagement and retention. While we all understand that to get an employee on board, to get a candidate and let him or her become an employee, it's very, very time consuming. It is extremely expensive. Why is it expensive? The man hours of the recruiter is taken into view. The second is your infrastructure cost, your AC, light, fan, etc. The third is the training part. So when I get a new employee, let's say Beer is running a company, and he recruits Srilata. Within 3 months, he sacks her, and he recruits some other Sunita or Anita. So what happens is, in the 3 months' time, I've not been able to perform, and 3 months is a very short time for you to judge whether the employee is really performing well or not. Second is, like I said, you constantly give a feedback, and give a feedback which is positive. Don't start off your feedback with a negative tone. Even if she's doing a very, very bad job, or he's doing a very, very bad job, start off with saying, hey, you've got these capabilities, you're doing these things well, you're not doing these things well. So start off on a positive note. It definitely will improve the morale of the employee. Second is, in the context of the cost of the recruitment. While it's easy to say, okay, this person has not performed, so I'm sacking him, it is very, very, very time consuming, and costs very expensive for you to get another employee. So it is important to train that employee, train the existing employee to help him or her to come up and go. The third aspect is when an employee gets sacked, irrespective of which position, when he or she is senior, it's still easier for that person to say, okay, I've lost a job, that's okay. But in the when the employees are younger, they're getting demotivated. It's very, very demotivating for you to lose a job. Another aspect of losing a job is, of course, the financial aspect. um, I've got my EMIs. I've got my, supposing my spouse is not working. I'm a guy. My spouse is not working. Then I have my EMIs. I have my rent. I have my children's education. All this takes a huge toll on the employee. So while of course bad performance should not be encouraged, but I would strongly say that performance can be improved, skills can be learned, skills can be taught, and how you're motivating the employee is equally important. You constantly say you're not doing well, you're hopeless, you're bad. That employee will not, as it is, feel dejected and still get demotivated even further. If the managers gives him a positive feedback and says, hey, you can do well, don't worry, you can do that. And the second aspect is to the employee morale. Supposing the employee is going through a personal challenge, it could be a divorce case or a bad relation in or the husband and wife not compatible, or in similar to my case where I had lost my mother, and she passed away very suddenly. So when I spoke to my reporting manager, the first thing she asked was, is there any work pending? And I was totally dejected. I said, my mother has passed away, and how can you ask such questions? So I think it's very important for the reporting manager to be sensitive. You please understand the employee is going to, I'm not, there are many employees who says, oh, my grandfather passed away, my grandmother passed away, so I have turned around and asked, how many grandfathers and grandmothers do you have? So it is there, such cases are definitely there, but my case was pretty genuine, where I had lost my mother, and my reporting manager said, do you have anything pending? So I think it's very important to be very cognizant and be very sensitive to what the employee is going through. How the employee can be motivated, I will move on to another aspect, is how an employee can be motivated is, communicate constantly with the employee and see how he or she is engaging himself. Then they're not working in silos and working as a team. Second is the vision and mission of the company has to be percolated to the junior most employee. That is very important. They cannot, today gone is the era, like Sharad was earlier mentioning, that you can't work in silos, you have to work as a team. It is very important for the top management to percolate the information to the junior most employee. Maybe, yes, I will agree that all information cannot be percolated to the junior most, but whatever can be percolated should be percolated. Third is the accountability should be for each and every employee, and accountability should be given, or that kind of liberty should be given, so that he knows he's doing wrong or he's doing good. Motivate the employee by not just an increment, but motivate the employee with various kind of trainings. It could be technical training, it could be cross-functional training, it could be soft skill training. Now, you will all agree with me, the saying, training has helped not just an individual, but also helped the company retain the employee, and thereby the attrition being less. This is a proof. I have done it myself with IntelliGroup and GE Money when I was working there. IntelliGroup had a huge attrition rate of 37%. I brought it down to 22%. Of course, beyond training, there were other activities that I did, but training was a major part that helped reduce the attrition. Next point is, ensure that all your employees, even if she or he is just a junior executive, give him those skills to ensure that there is a succession planning. So tomorrow he will grow to the role of a junior, from a junior executive to senior executive, assistant manager, etc. So start empowering people. Empowering may be a very cliched word, but what I would suggest is definitely give him those kind of trainings, those kind of input, so that he can build his capabilities and career to the next level. Professional growth, like I have already touched, is professional growth is one is training, second is succession planning. So these are some of the activities that every company should percolate to every employee, so that employees grow and there's less retention, sorry, there's less attrition. Next aspect is the employees, okay, most companies today do a employee satisfaction survey. That how much of that result is really being implemented is my question. Not all the companies take in the negative feedback. So the negative feedback also should be taken into account and improve the company's overall capabilities, overall persona, etc. While on the employee engagement aspect, apart from all that I've mentioned, also should be the employee should be kind of or rather the reporting manager or the company should give the flexibility of time. Today, thanks to again COVID, we are all kind of working in hybrid scenario. But if I'm having a personal problem, allow the employee to work from home or come in late and leave a little early or something like that. So as long as productivity and as long as the job is not hampered, I'm fine with a person working for 3-4 hours for a few days. I'm not saying that could be a norm every day, but at least for a few days or till that problem is solved for the employee. I'm perfectly okay for the employee to come in late, work from home, etc. This kind of walking that extra mile for the employee definitely helps. Second is have the employee be part of your meetings. It cannot, like I said, all meetings does not have to be attended by junior most people because they don't have the maturity or the understanding. But we ensure that the employees also get the information what the company is doing or what the progress of the company is. So communication in all these aspects is extremely important. It becomes the vital role for the employee to understand where he's going, which company is working. Even if I need to give a negative feedback, like I mentioned before, you have start off with a positive note and then talk about negative. And don't ensure when you're communicating, you cannot have your tone being rude. You be polite, be stern. At the end of the day, he will understand. So these are some of the points that I really wanted to bring forth. Here, I'll give a small example since I have I wanted to wind up in 30 minutes. I have 7 more minutes. I'll give you a small example, 2 examples. One is I was working for a BPO company where the employee, started off, I think her name was Sarika, if my memory is right. She started off, and in the BPO companies, as you will all agree with me, is they have this course every day and every week. So when she started working for this company, Beer, she was brilliant. Her scores were fantastic, and within 3 months or 5 months, she's plummeted. All her scores plummeted, and the reporting manager came and said, this girl is performing very badly. What do we do? I think we need to take a call. And whenever I used to pass by that floor, and I used to see her always worried and tensed. So one day I called her out and said, "Hey, let's have a coffee." So I asked her what's worrying you. She did not open up. She was hesitant. Then I kind of prodded her a couple of times. She opened up and she said, "I'm having some marital problems." And I realized that marital problems was not an abusive marriage. It was more of an ego issue. So I kind of counseled her, not just one day, but 5-6 times. I took her out for a coffee and spoke to her, about generally the sun and the moon and very, very general stuff, and then brought in this topic. So I counseled her saying, don't, she was also applying to divorce and she had a 7-month-old baby. So I said, this is ridiculous. Don't go through a divorce because it's very traumatic emotionally. And you're just earning 13,000, which is barely enough for you to sustain. Of course, this was happened about nearly 15 years back, but even 15 years back, 13,000 was very, very small amount. So she said, yeah, I'll go back to my parents' house. I said, while the parents may agree to, I mean, will gladly take you on, but it is very, it's very traumatic for the parents also, saying, my daughter's getting divorced, and it's a stigma for them. So I said, don't do this. Treat your mother-in-law as a mother. Pamper her, take her out for shopping, etc. So I counseled her many times, and she came around. And after 2 years, she called me up and she said, "Ma'am, I've had a second baby." So that these small things that the HR can do goes a long way. The second example that I want to give was this. I was working for an IT company. This boy was one of my team members. Vishwanath was his name, and we used to call him Vishwa. So Vishwa was brilliant in terms of his timelines were brilliant. He used to always come at 8 or 8:30. Sorry, he used to come at 10 and work till 8:39. While his wife used to work in the same company in the recruitment team, she used to come at 10 and leave at 6:30. This boy every day used to stay till 8:30, and his attitude was brilliant. His timelines was bad. So what happened was he was also having a dotted line reporting to the BU head while he was reporting to me as well. So the reporting BU head said his performance is bad. I think we need to sack him. So I said, give me some time, let me work on it. What I did was I realized that this boy used to he was working in employee relations team, and the ER team, he used to get constantly a lot of calls because we had about 4 or 5 centers in Bangalore. So he used to get a lot of calls, and every call I realized that he was speaking for more than 35-40 minutes and sometimes 1 hour. So none of them were personal calls, all of them were official calls. So I realized that 40-45 minutes that he's talking is a sheer waste of time. So when I counseled him, I said, why don't you finish the conversation in maximum 5 to 8 minutes, maximum 10 minutes? He said, no, they are talking. Will it not be rude if I put the phone down? Will it not be rude when I say, okay, I have to go and put the phone down? I said, no, you will have to explain it to them, saying, what is the concern? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and give them a timeline, saying 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever. And if it's not completed, go back and tell him that you need 24 hours more to resolve the problem. But beyond this 5 points, don't have a lengthy conversation. They're generally having very general conversation. I said, cut it off, saying, I have to go back to work. My managers, I said, blame it on me. My managers not appreciating that long calls. Have the short calls and ensure therein you have saved a lot of time. Second is, I made him do the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness. I said, forget about the OT part, just do the SW part. The third is, I made him do I always do this where I understand what his capabilities are and how he can perform better. The fourth thing what I did was I realized that his basic problem was he didn't know how to associate time with each of the tasks. So I made him do these things to do every day. I said, as soon as you come into work, write down things to do. It could be 10 things, it could be 15 things, whatever. So then after 2 days, when I went and looked him up, he still had a backlog of work. I said, what happened? He said, ma'am, what he was doing was he was concentrating on the least important work. So I said, you need to know how to prioritize. So I made him understand what is the most important work, then medium level, and then the least level. So I said, as soon as you come to work, write down the things to do, finish off your most important work, tick it off, then go on to the medium level, and then the least important. He may be not be able to finish all the tasks in one day. It's okay to postpone the least important to the next day. So he said, ma'am, the third day what happened was he had two extra meetings apart from the regular meetings. He said, ma'am, I didn't have time. I said, this will have happened. All the ad hoc meetings will happen. All the ad hoc reports will happen. You will have to juggle time. So this helped him drastically. It things to do, and the SWOT analysis that I sat with him and made him do it helped him dramatically, and his performance improved. And the employee, his BU head said, will not sack him, we'll keep him. So I think these small steps that one takes as a reporting manager helps the employee go along. So I can take in questions if you want me to continue for some more time. I think I said 30 minutes and I've winded up exactly in 30 minutes. So if you want,
Fantastically. Thank you so much, Srilata,
And
for
it's an
this 30
excellent
minutes.
session going on. You can carry on.
So
We
you
are
can
love
carry on
to
for next
hear you.
10 minutes because another session we are going to
okay,
drop that another speaker is not there right now. And so he has some another that stuff to do. So we are continuing with this. So next 10 minutes and maximum 15 minutes, it is with you.
okay,
So please continue.
all right, all right. So employee engagement is again today in today's world, everybody is having a lot of stress. When I say everybody, probably not you and me, Beer, but most of them, they're having a lot of mental wellness has become a part of the employee culture today. So when, again, going back to my earlier example where I said I've lost my parents, I lost my mother, and the manager said, what is the work pending? I think those are small steps which helps the employee. Sorry, which helps the employee feel a lot more owned by the company. When I say that is, I felt very dejected and I felt extremely irritated when the reporting manager said, "What is the work pending?" To that, you will all agree with me that when a parent is passed away, nothing else is important than that situation for the employee. While another colleague of mine said, "Hey, don't worry, we will take care of everything. You just take care of your family." I think those small things goes a long way. Stress has become a very, very vital part of our lives today. Stress is something where the reporting manager can ensure that employee doesn't get feel stressed, at least at work. How does he do it? How can an employer or reporting manager ensure that teams don't get stressed or don't go through the stress level? The simplest thing is, A, of course, communication. B is to understand what the employee is going through. uh, I think all of us today in this team and in this conference for the last 2 days that we are all attending are all senior members. I think at least 15 plus years of experience. So I would strongly recommend that as managers today, whatever your designation, whether you're a manager, senior manager, vice president, HOD, I think start reading people's mind is very important. Um, he's your team member. ABC work has to be done. Apart from that, please understand how to read people's mind. Once you are able to read people's mind, you are able to find out what is the problem even before the employee talks about it. So therein you can understand, hey, this person can do this job at this time. I can defer it for somebody some other time, or I can give it to somebody else, wherein you're understanding the person's problem without him or her telling actually what the problem is, and it reduces the burnout, it reduces stress, and he feels a little more concerned. And my manager is talking about it. My manager is saying, "Don't worry, things will be all right. Take your time off." So these small things, I think, goes extremely long. Uh, make the sessions with the employee more collaborative. Understand, see, it's very important. Like, I've had very bad managers where he is not willing to take a feedback. I think reporting managers should be open for feedback as well. We also make mistakes, we also have attitude, we also have tempers. Probably somebody scratched my car and I'm in a bad mood. So we also kind of, while we may be much older, much wiser, we also kind of tend to go off the hook sometimes. So it's important to take feedback and work on the feedback. um, Take in ideas from your juniors, no problem. It's uh, some of the ideas may be bizarre, that you can delete it or ignore it. But the ideas that some of them come up with can be really smart ideas. Take in those ideas. The earlier team had also spoken a lot on the IT aspect, technology aspect. Now it's very important that every employee is being trained on technology, whether it's AI, whether it is some other package like your HRMS packages, etc. It is very important for you to train those employees on various aspects. Um, the third aspect is also talking in terms of the insurance. Now, some of these startup companies, Beer, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, some of the startup companies are not taking care of the medical insurance, are not giving medical insurance for the employees, or even if they are giving, it is the employer is paying the lump sum, and the it is being deducted on the monthly salary. I think these small things should be taken care by by the employer, by the company, because, and at the end of the day, how much is it? It is 1,000 rupees, 1,500 rupees, or 2,000 rupees per employee. I think those things have to be taken into account, because that's where the employee feels that he's part of the team, and the loyalty improves. Loyalty and longevity of employee improves. So things like medical insurance or accident insurance, or even the and some companies, this is of course really bizarre, but some of the companies have deducted provident fund but not gone and remitted provident fund in their respective accounts with the EPF. So these, of course, this does not happen with the bigger companies, but I'm talking about the startup companies. Some of these startup companies have deducted PF but not remitted in their EPF. So small things like this, please ensure that the employees' welfare is taken care of. So the next part is, how do you? I'll go back to my earlier point, is succession planning. Succession planning does not happen only at the senior level. It should start from the junior level as well. Succession planning, supposing I'm joining ABC company, and Beer is the CEO of the company. Let's say Sharad is my reporting manager. I'm joining as a junior executive. But even as a junior executive, I should be given that career path and succession planning to move to the next level. We all understand what is succession planning. As to how Srilata can groom herself or be groomed by the company to help move to the next level. So if that happens, there is the attrition comes down. Second is, like I mentioned before, is the trainings that has been given or imparted by the organization has helped employees not look for another job. And this is clear data, and every company gives that. I myself has been approved to it. So when employees are learning, and there is even if there is a lateral movement and not a vertical movement or vertical promotion, he or she definitely feels that I don't want to move, because company today employees move because of bad managers or low pay. Low pay can be one of the aspects, but low pay is not just one aspect. As long as the employee feels that he's constantly learning and there's constant growth, but because he's learning, not necessarily because he's getting promoted, he will not leave the company. So if you ask me saying how many years will he be there in the company, I don't have an answer. But yes, the longevity definitely increases. So like I said, of course, communication has to be the be all and end all of every organization. So I think these are some of the points that I would like to add. If I missed out on anything,
No, you have been done everything. Thank you so much. Now the Edwin is here, so we are extending now and again the 30 minutes to giving to him. First of all, that going some questions with you. So as our protocol, so we have the group pictures. So everyone, please come to the screen so that we can pick up the pictures of everyone and putting them for the connection at the LinkedIn, so that all the participant can connect to the speaker right away. And then we are moving to the next 30 minutes with the Idvini Joel, especially for the future trends into industrial relation. Okay, so out of 16, I can see only 13. 3 members are not there. Okay, it's enough. So Manohara, please come to the screen. Thank you so much. First take I'm taking here. One, just give me a while for next 30 seconds. Then we are going to putting you all to some question Q&A with Shrilata. And here, where is Shrilata? Okay, is there anyone? Okay, so yes, you have the question. I have been taken the picture for all of you. So now go to the question and answer for next 3 to 4 minutes. Then after another 30 minutes, we have to bound to the Edwin Joel, that the session we have been scheduled with him. Yes, please. Question and answer. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Good evening. And to be very frank, nice to be witness of this particular session. And
thank you.
you have covered almost all the areas, and there is no question. But in addition to that, I just wanted to understand, as because it's a inter-allied part. If you are going through a company which is very old and they are having their own ecosystem, and where succession planning and other things also is in path, but the ecosystem do not allow this empowerment to the newer people. Now, what kind of change management will you suggest for that particular organization, so that that ratio can be managed and maintained?
Good question. I think it's very important to sit with the CEO, that is the senior management team, your CEO, CFO, COO, and tell them that the need for the percolation of information. That is very important because, let's say, for example, you're working for ABC company and I have no clue as to what the company is doing. I come every day, work, and get my salary, and that's where it ends. Or at the most, his reporting manager says this is the job, this is not the job. Gives me a feedback every now and then, but I don't have any interaction with the CEO. I don't know what the company is doing. So therein, while some companies have those rigid kind of ideas saying this information is only for the senior management team and nobody else. I think it's very important for the HR people like you to go and tell the senior management team that it's very important to percolate information. Like I said earlier, all the information does not have to be told to the junior most, because they don't have the maturity or the understanding how to deal with this information. They will go and talk crap about it to the public. That's not where it should go. But whatever can be percolated the junior most has to be percolated. Let's say, for example, Beer is the CEO of the company and you're the vice president. Between Beer and you, every information should be passed on. For me as a junior executive, what should be given to me should only be given to me and must only be given to me. But the information has to be passed on, and it's very important.
Ma'am, one particular initiative we have started, we have proposed, and management somehow accepted that things. That's a town hall, starting from gateman to
Right.
MD, everyone will be present there. That's a one initiative. And second is that the acting HOD or acting site head concept, where people will rotate their role and they will they will act like that particular position. Do you feel that that will serve little bit of purpose, and or there is some consequential phases as well?
I don't agree with your second point. The first point is very important. While town halls, see again in a town hall, not every information can be percolated because or announced because the junior most executive may not understand it, may not have the maturity to understand it. So uh, the town halls can be generic information, not you know not every most important information. So it can't be like I'm I'm working with this ABC company, I'm getting this deal for so many crores and all that cannot be told in the town hall. After the deal has been done, you can always say, yes, the company has this, I've acquired Capgemini, for example. But for how much of crores of rupees, you cannot pass on that information. So those town halls there is a definite connect in the town halls with the CEOs and COs to the junior most executive, but information has to be filtered in the town halls. But how do you then react? How do you interact with the CEOs? There should be an open door policy. Go and tell him that's the problem, and not have closed doors. You can have open doors. In fact, you must have open doors. To answer your earlier question, Ruben, is to ensure that the senior management, apart from your CEOs and COs, the vice president level, should go and tell the CEOs to ensure that the information should be percolated. It cannot, in today's 21st century, it cannot be a closed organization. It should be an open organization.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. If any other question, I can take it. Otherwise, we can wind up.
Can I ask one question?
Please, please.
Yeah, just wanted to say the session was going very well. Just want to understand
Thank you.
nowadays actually employee retention is one of the biggest challenge for every industry. As you suggested, would like to understand your views. So what are the employee engagement activities can help to stop or the retain the employee? Because employees mindset is also very difficult.
Right.
Because nowadays actually different employees talent acquisition is biggest the problem as far as I am facing the problem. So would like to
Got
listen your advice for that. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
employee got it. Employee engagement starts from the time the employee joins, post recruitment, right through the joining formalities and induction as well. So when you're having that connect with the employee, constant connect. It's not like once in a week or once in 10 days, but constant connect, and ensure it doesn't become overbearing. I can't be sitting on my employee's head and saying 5 minutes every 5 minutes where what is the status. That can be very suffocating. I had a reporting manager saying, I was working for a very, very short while. Because of this, I left the company in 1 month's time. Every 5 minutes, used to come and ask me, what is the status? So I said, last 5 minutes and this time, now there is no difference. There is no change. Please don't, behave like this with me. And I was not a junior executive. I was almost become a senior manager then. So don't, even with the junior executive, don't ensure that it's not suffocating. At the same time, have a constant connect. Like I said, training helps dramatically. Training helps because the employee is constantly learning. The employee also feels that I may not have vertical growth, but I'm having lateral growth. And the training should be a combination of technical training, cross-functional training, and soft skill training. All of this has to go hand in hand every month, not once in 6 months, once in a year. Employee engagement also, like I said, you have to have that connect with the employee every now and then. What is connect? Not saying what is your task, have you finished your task, have you done this, why are you late today? That is not a connect. The connect is saying if he or she is going through, like I gave you this example of a BPO company where the employee plummeted her scores. I was just casually used to walk up and down her bay, and I realized she's going through a lot of problems because her face was, very tensed. So you go and speak to the employee and say what is worrying you. When I was working in IntelliGroup, I used to have a very, very random conversation with an employee, and it could be really random, saying how's your child doing, how's things doing, very, very random, sun and the moon and all that. And I used to go back to his manager and say, within 2 months' time, this man is leaving the company. So the reporting manager has turned around and said, what crap are you talking? He is one of my best employees. He's not going to leave. And within 2 months, the same manager came and said, Srilata, you were so right. He's put down his papers. So I think it is very important as senior employees, senior managers, and vice presidents or whatever we hold designation is, start reading people's psyche. Not just people's mind, but people's psyche. It goes a long way. So these are some of the points. Of course, training, keep in touch with him, percolate information, ensure that the employee feels that he works with the company, the belonging should be there. By doing these things, and communication, of course. Communication, when you say communication, I would add feedback. Ensure the feedback is not only negative, it should be all start off with a positive note, and then you can just inject a few points that he needs to improve. So when you're doing this, you're not looking at it. I don't feel demotivated. Let's say Beer is giving me a feedback. I don't feel demotivated saying, hey, these are some things I need to improve. But when you start off with the negative point, saying, Srilata, you're hopeless, I will only think of me being hopeless, and the rest of the conversation, I'm not even listening to him. So those things goes a long way. I hope I've answered your question.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. These are the real, very practical experiences that I shared. You rightly said that employee connection matters a lot, as well as the training is important. So this may be missing in my current organization. So thank you. I really appreciate for suggesting me. Would like
Where
to
do you work,
execute
Sharad?
the same. I'm working in Lidec India Private Limited. It is in Pune, in Maharashtra state.
I see. So
Thank you so
would
much.
love to
Thank you
have
so
him.
much, Sharad and
Yeah.
Ruben, for asking your the questions.